Hello and welcome to the 10th edition of Le Samyn de Dam, starting in Carignan, finishing in Dour. As you can see, 16 degrees Celsius today. 11 km/h winds for the riders to contend with. Heading out of Carignan, they have a headwind out of the start before the finishing circuits. They entered the circuit with 77.3 kilometers to go, and then they take in 2 laps of 26.8 kilometers. They call this race the Little Paris-Roubaix, the cobbled sections that you have throughout the course, the final one of which coming not too far away from the finish. Martin McDonald and Danny Rowe with you to take you through today's race action. And as you can see, there is a breakaway group. They're going through with 1 lap to go. Lotte Kopecky leading through. Amy Peters, Jolien D'Hoore, Emma Cecily Norsgaard Jorgensen is the other rider in there, and Marlon Russa, the Swiss rider. The chasing group being led here by Audrey Cordon-Ragot of Trek Segafredo, and the cobbled sections that litter this circuit. They have got some work to do. Just before we came on air, they were giving us a gap of 1 minute and 21 seconds back to this chasing group. You can see Christine Majerus there, the Luxembourg national champion, who was second in this race last year behind Chantal van den Broek-Black. And Chantal, a 3-time winner of this race, not here racing this one today, but she took it last year. Jip van der Bos back in 2019, she was 4th last year. Janneke Ensing, Sheila Gutierrez, great win for the Spanish rider there back in 2017. You can see those back-to-back wins there for Chantal van den Broek-Black. Emma Johansson from Sweden, winner in 2014. Anna van Dijk, 2013, and the first winner, Adri Visser, back in 2012. Danny, I wrote just before we came on air, we were watching the pictures, and I just wrote boom on my notes, because that's pretty fair to say. This is the route. We head out of Carignan and then head down to this finishing circuit, and SD Worx again have blown this race apart.
They absolutely have, Marty. It's nice to be back commentating again with you after a great Het Nieuwsblad. But SD Worx are doing it again, aren't they? They're really taking this into their own hands. It worked on Saturday at Het Nieuwsblad, and it's worked again today. They've got 2 riders up front in that break. It's a super strong break, and I don't think it's going to come back. They've got 2 cards to play, and for them, it's all now to lose. But they've taken it on. They've raced aggressive, and it's obviously how they are setting up their 2021 season, and it's working for them. You can see Jolien D'Hoore on the back here for SD Worx with her teammate Amy Peters, who had a fantastic ride on Saturday to take 3rd place in Het Nieuwsblad.
Good to see a strong group. And Emma Jorgensen, kind of almost the Danish rider. We have Emma Norsgaard Jorgensen a lot of the time as well. National champion with Movistar. We were really expecting Annemiek van Vleuten to step up in Het Nieuwsblad. It was Emma that got up there. Completely uncharacteristically was out of position. Lotte Kopecky here in the Belgian national champions jersey, that black, yellow and red jersey. One of the most, I always say, one of the most powerful national champions jerseys in world cycling. Jolien D'Hoore here, you can see the former national champion with those stripes on the cuffs of her jersey. Her teammate in the purple there, Amy Peters, you can see the stripes as a former European champion on her jersey. And then we've got Marlon Russa here in the yellow and orange, the Swiss rider, new signing to LA BTC Ljubljana, but again another rider that was super strong in Het Nieuwsblad. We've kind of started to nickname her the break killer, because she was so powerful in Het Nieuwsblad. The gap just holding. Audrey Cordon-Ragot did a great job in that chasing group behind. They're just holding them at the moment.
Yeah, they are, Marty, and it's such a strong breakaway. And you can see Jumbo-Visma and Audrey Cordon from Trek, who are really working hard to try and bring this back. They're probably the biggest losers of the day from the strong teams that have missed this break. But like you say, it's such a strong breakaway. With Marlon Russa, like you said, she's such a strong time trial rider. She was 2nd in the World Time Trial Championships in 2020 and 14th in the recent Het Nieuwsblad. So, you know, really stepped up. Likewise, Emma has too, you know, coming 2nd in Het Nieuwsblad. I think she's really stepped up over the past, 12 months, only 21 years of age. You could see last year, her results started to really improve with winning the national championships for Denmark in the road race, but also getting some fantastic results in the individual time trial at the World. She was 7th, she was 14th in Gent-Wevelgem. So again, such a great rider to have in this break, and I don't see this coming back now. They're working super strong together. You can see they're kind of riding in a chain gang formation, which would say to me that there is a wind out there today. That's probably the most efficient way to ride when there is wind, rather than your team time trial formation where you're in a straight line, actually, like they're riding as now, that you can see. So it's a fantastic compilation of riders, and I think it's only going to get more exciting come the finish, because I don't think some of these riders will want to take SD Works to the line, and they're going to have to follow with every single attack that comes from this group.
Last year, the breakaway group was Chantal van der Broek-Black, Christine Majerus, Lotte Kopecky, Jip van den Bos, Ellen van Dijk and Aude Bionic of Movistar last year. So Emma Jorgensen here, there's rider second wheel for Denmark, had a great season last year, did Emma. Big signing to that Movistar team, and really great to see her stepping up in this one. She's got a great sprint on her. If this group does manage to stay away, a kick between Emma Jorgensen, Lotte Kopecky and Jolien Deur and Amy Peters, that's a pretty fast sprint. Marlon Roos is going to be the one that's going to want to get away before the finish, looking at this.
Yeah, and I think she'll almost play the Ellen van Dijk card from last year. If you remember, she was so aggressive in those last few kilometres. She really didn't want to take it to a sprint, and I think that's what you'd see from the likes of Marlon Rusa and Emma Norsgaard if this was to come down to the final. But you can see Audrey Rago is still going strong for Trek. She's not getting much help up there on the front, so she is going to have to call for other teams. But it does look like this is coming back, and now riders are going to have to be attentive for any counter-attacks.
Good move there. So Jumbo-Visma and Trek Segafredo both closed that one down. So Christine Majerus goes straight through. So the SD Works rider, the Luxembourg national champion, jumps straight past. So many options in this race have SD Works, and it's the champion of Luxembourg. And you have to go way back in the history of Luxembourg cycling to another rider that's worn that jersey. Christine took their sprint last year, out-sprinted Lotte Kopecky last year for that placing, and it's Marta Jaskulska that's neutralised that move. But it's good to see SD Works so attentive here. And Trek Segafredo, they missed out in the Umlaut Het Nieuwsblad. And the next rider to go, Lonneke Uniken, it looks like now for SD Works, and is that Anna Henderson getting right in on the wheel here for Jumbo-Visma?
And did you see there, Marty, as Marjorie looked over her shoulder, you could see that Lonneke Uniken went for SD Works. So this is obviously their game plan, and other riders need to cotton on to this and make sure that they're always marking those SD Works riders. I was quite surprised when Christine Margerou's kicked there was actually no one on her wheel that reacted straight away. And if you get that gap, then it's really actually hard to close it. Whereas if you jump on the wheel, obviously you are getting that slipstream behind. So it's really important for other riders to be attentive and know that, after Het Nieuwsblad, SD Works are looking to be aggressive again. So they should be marking those riders to make sure they don't miss that move, especially riders like Audrey from Trek, the Trek riders and the Jumbo-Visma riders, who you could argue are, the better riders from the top teams and are able to follow the likes of Marjorie. And again, Marjorie, she is such a fantastic rider. She's so strong, and I actually don't think she gets the opportunities that she deserves. She's such a strong domestique, but she's so strong in her own right. And I think last year in this race, that actually, it proved it. She won the sprint to take second place. So I'd love to see her get a result today, get a win, get her arms in the air. I think, a second place is fantastic, but she deserves that big win for always working for other riders.
So if you are just getting on board, we're on the final lap here of Le Samyn de Dam, the 10th edition of this race. And we're heading towards that final 20 kilometers, that breakaway group just being brought back together. So just as we came on air, Marlon Rusa, Emma Norsgaard Jorgensen, Lotte Kopecky, Amy Peters and Jolene Dura off the front. You would have said that that group was gone, but the work done by Trek Segafredo's Audrey Cordon-Ragot, the French national champion, to get that breakaway back under control. Colours of Tipco on the front. I think it's Kristen Faulkner that's up here. Looking at this now, Danny, and the cobblestones, the two climbs that we've got on this circuit, where would you be thinking? Where would you be looking to make your move?
I think, like you said, there's so many cobbled sections. There's 10 cobbled sections in this last 2 laps of the race, so within the last 50 kilometres, and they come thick and fast, close together to each other. So I'd say you'd have to, try and go either on the cobbled section or straight after. When the rider's legs are hurting, the chances are, if your legs are hurting, other riders' legs are hurting, so that's generally the best time to attack. If you attack when you're fresh, the chances are a lot of riders will be able to follow, but it's having that confidence in your own ability to actually attack when you're hurting, because it would really kind of dampen the others' spirits, and they'd be thinking, my legs are hurting so much, I can't possibly follow this break. So I think its positioning is absolutely crucial in this race. Even after the cobbled sections are over, you can see now the riders are on the smooth parkour, and it could be really easy to drift to the back of the peloton. But actually, that is where you could miss a really key move. And these riders at the back here need to move up, and they need to use their time wisely to do so before the cobbles.
So we are going to take a short break. And if you're staying with us on our digital coverage, Audrey Cordon-Ragot makes a move, and so now they're starting to set this one up. As, the Trek Segafredo rider, the chase, clearly didn't take anything out of the legs of the French national champion. This is a trademark Audrey Cordon-Ragot move. Now this is when she can go. That looks like the style, Danny, of Abby May Parkinson, the British rider from Lotte Sudal, that's getting up there. Abby May always elbows out on the brakes, on the brake levers, and Majerus just closes it down. They recognise the danger now of letting Audrey Cordon-Ragot go clear.
That was a really strong move there from Audrey, and she's got to watch out now for any riders to counter. You can see now Liv rider, I can't quite make out who that is right now, but they are trying to keep the pressure on at the front of this race. This is a smaller group now coming into the last 20 kilometres, and it looks like another SD Works rider is countering again. They really are out there to be aggressive and take this race on themselves, and I think we are just going to see them go and try and get one rider countering every single move and hope that one of them sticks coming into the finish. They obviously don't want to take this to a bunch sprint. They've got Jolene Dehor in their back pocket, I guess, for the sprint if it was to come down to a sprint, but now this peloton has reduced very significantly now. I think it looks to me at about 20 riders now coming into the last 18 kilometres of this race.
So just having a look round the group here. So get back up towards the front, and there is an opportunity now in this group for a rider to perhaps steal that victory from under the noses of the big teams. There's some smaller teams that are represented in this group. We'll try and get you a full rundown of who they are when we keep down there for as long as possible. But the attacks, you can see, just going over the top of each other. Looks like the style of Aude Bionique, the blue jersey there of Movistar that's in there. But SD Works try again. The little digs on the front here. Is that Shirin van Anrooy, looks like, from Trek Segafredo, the young rider, the Dutch rider, former world junior cyclocross champion. We'll get a close look when we go down there. Looks like her kind of style from that shot, so we'll get an idea. We'll get now the big attack down the outside here for Jumbo Visma. The attack, so this team putting the effort in now to go, and it looks like Anna Henderson, the British rider, making a move.
Good ride there by Anna Henderson, and she's another rider who's really stepped up. She rode for Team Sunweb in 2020, and now she's part of the new Jumbo-Visma women's team.
The attacks are coming thick and fast now. We're 17.7 kilometers to go here in this one, and this small group, this race really has disintegrated throughout today. The cobblestones, the wind direction on this course, the attacks are going, but no one's managing to get a real advantage here. Audrey Cordon-Rago in that group looks like she's lining up for potentially another move here just before this right hand corner, swinging through there. So we're just trying to get a full rundown of that leading group. I'm just going to correct myself. I think it was Pernilla Matheson that was the Jumbo-Visma rider that was attacking while you were away on the breakaway. The break. So she's also in this group. Emma Norsgaard Jorgensen, the Danish champion, and Lotte Kopecky, since that breakaway group got brought back, both just sat a little bit further down, just resting the legs, just letting themselves recover.
Amy Peters now marshalling the front for SD Worx, with Audrey Cordon-Rago on her wheel for the Trek Segafredo team. Audrey does not want to let another move go. Trek missed that move earlier with Amy Peters and Jolien de Hoorn, and that was not a good move to miss. Thankfully, luckily for her, it did come back, but now this is the smallest group on the road that we are going to see come to the finish, and it is relentless. There is a little let up now. You can see the swarming nature of the pack at the front. This is the chance for riders to really refuel, take stock, get to the front, not become complacent, coming into the last 16.5 kilometres of the race. A lot of riders will now be taking on their caffeine gel to give them that real extra boost of energy that they're going to need. And I'm sure that this group is going to whittle down towards the finish line. Riders are not going to give up. They do not want to take some of these top sprinters to the line. You can see now no team has missed this. It's really good to see every team represented now in this group. Like you said, Abby May Parkinson from Team Lotto. I actually coach Abby, so it's really good to see her make this front select group of riders coming down to the last 16 kilometres. Riders like Marlon Rusa, you would say, is definitely going to try a hand at a last-minute attack, and they're coming into a cobbled section here. And I've got to say, I've ridden this course myself, and the cobbles aren't like other Belgian cobbles on this course. They're so hard. You get absolutely rocked to pieces on these cobbles, so it's so important to be near the front. It's really hard to follow a wheel. You're looking for that smoothest line. So the closer you can be to the front, the easier it is. You don't want to have to battle to get past riders that have potentially dropped their chain, dropped a bottle, which definitely happens on cobbles like this that are so uneven.
On to our next climb, 500 metres, La Côte de la Roquette, just 2%, but you can see the cobblestones here. It's a pretty relentless course that we've got. Diana Penuela is the rider, just sat on the back of the group. Those purple jerseys, though, of SD Worx, again, through to the front, but the attacks now going in. This is our second race of the year, so we're still getting used to some of the new jerseys and the new kits, the Live Racing jerseys, the purple of their jerseys and the purple of the SD Worx. But Christine Majerus is straight onto the attack here with 15 kilometres to go.
You can never miss Christine Majerus in that Luxembourg jersey. She's a great one to be able to point out. Like you said, Marty, it's pretty tricky trying to differentiate between the Live team now and SD Worx in those purple colours. But it was Christine Majerus that jumped straight onto the back of the Live rider that we're going to see in a minute when the pictures come closer. But it does look like these two riders are going to come back to this main group. But look how lined out it is. It really is SD Worx that are taking it on. This Live rider I can't quite make out yet, but it is Majerus from SD Worx that's straight onto her wheel. They are not going to let any riders get away.
Femke Marcus on the back here for Park Hotel Valkenburg. could be Evie Kuipers, the rider. She's a tall rider, Evie Kuipers, rider down on the corner though, which is a shame, just like leading into that corner. And the rider down here is Jessie van den Bulke, former Belgian champion. That's a shame for the Lotto Soudal rider, just sliding out on that corner.
Hopefully she can use the cars. You can see the cars in front of her now. That means they'll be in contention to that front group. If she can use the cars, she's got one last chance to be able to get back to this group. But you can see now it's Lotte Kopecky at the front, making this so hard over the cobbles. You can see how tough they are. They're being shaken to pieces. The bunch is really lined out. There's gaps all the way down the line here. It's so important to stay near the front and stay out of trouble.
So good move. If you were with us as we came on air, Lotte Kopecky in that breakaway group that was brought back under control. She's got Majerus with her, and then our Movistar jersey in the blue, just onto the back of the group. So this is a good move here. You can see that the group behind just spread across the road. The crosswinds here puts that power just going out of that group.
I'm so impressed with Lotte Kopecky. She's also really targeting the Olympics this year, and actually not on the road, which is so surprising, as she's had such fantastic results in the last 12 months. But it's the track with her Belgian teammate Jolien de Hoor who will take on the Madison, and I think they will be a real force to be reckoned with. You know, they're both such strong riders, and it's really impressive how they can combine the two, the track and the road. I tried to do it myself, and it took time for me to switch from the track to the road. Obviously you need a lot more endurance in the legs, but for these two riders, they seem to be able to do it seamlessly. Also a rider like Amy Peters as well, she's hoping to ride the Madison with Kirsten Wild, from the Netherlands. So again, that's going to be a really exciting race. But this looks like a great move now from these three riders.
Yeah, Jelena Ereš on the back here from Serbia, the Movistar rider. I'm so impressed with the way the Movistar team have just kind of come out the blocks, and Jelena just she's got a good kick on her as well as Jelena Ereš here in the blue of Movistar. And this is a fast finishing group that you've got here in Les Samyn. Lotte Kopecky, the Belgian national champion, really looking to kickstart her season. Took 4th place in the Omloop Pet Nieuwsblad. Really had a great finish to last season. As said, she mixes as Danny said, she mixes the track and the road. And last year, just got out sprinted for 2nd spot by that rider there in that red, white, and light blue jersey, the champion of Luxembourg, Christine Majerus. If she gets an opportunity to try and take a victory, she doesn't pass it up. But again, it's the French national champion of Audrey Cordon-Ragot, those French national champions colours that just neutralise this one. Again, so strong, Audrey Cordon-Ragot in this situation. So we'll have a look round the group and just see who else Trek Segafredo have got in this group. They came into today with Trixie Worrack, Amelie Deirdrickson, Loretta Hansen, Chloe Hosking, Letitia Paternoster and Shirin Van Anrooy. We did get news early on that Deirdrickson and Paternoster had been dropped from the group. Liv Racing go again straight over the top. Looks like the style of Valerie de May from Nat Shots, but kicking it out of that corner. So as Lotte Kopecky comes back, the next Liv Racing rider goes. So this team in their new colours. SD Works just trying to get on terms. Audrey Cordon-Ragot elbows out for the Trek Segafredo rider as she tries to close this one down.
Audrey could really do with some help for some teammates, like you just said there, Marty. She's really having to do all the work herself, and there's going to come a point where that energy just diminishes and she won't be able to chase everything. She's obviously so strong. She did a lot of work as well on Saturday. Unfortunately, I think they would have been riding for Lizzie Deignan, but she got caught out in that group behind with Annemiek van Vleuten. But she's obviously in top shape, and it looks like Marlon Russa has come to the front here from the LA team. Again, another super strong rider. But interestingly, there, Marty, she just came to the front and rode strong. She's better off staying to the back and really giving it a kick to try and get that gap, to try and get a break.
So Marlon Russa has brought back the next move goes here. The colours of Arkea Samsic, or Arkea Team Arkea. So they're now the next riders to go here. Little flick of the elbow, 11.1 kilometres to go. You're in that run now in towards the finish. So just trying to line this one up. Also in that group for Liv is Alison Jackson. So a few riders, new colours. Russa goes again over the top, makes that move. And Liv Racing straight on her. Cordon Rago moving up in that tricolor jersey. Lotte Kopecky just moving up on the outside. It's going to be an interesting sprint to call, this one, isn't it?
It is absolutely, Marty, and you can see the riders are almost bunny hopping. Can you see in the middle of the screen now, there's almost a valley of death that we used to call it on the road, where you've got to, you can't just ride straight over it because your wheels can actually get caught. And I've seen it time and time again cause so many crashes. So it's really important for the riders to, you know, not ride over them almost sideways. They need to go almost head on or do a little bunny hop. So it's just another, you know, another something to have to think about to stay safe in this race. You can just see a Jumbo-Visma rider having to just make an effort to get onto the back of this group again, and it's Audrey who's come to the back to probably have a breather. You could see there actually her bike just skipped over that hole in the road. So yeah, another thing to have to navigate through in races like this.
I'll get a closer look. I did get a glimpse there. I think of number 15 is Chloe Hosking. So if Chloe Hosking's in this group, that would be why Audrey Cordon-Rago is working so hard on the front. Inside 10 kilometres to go now here in Les Samyn des Dames. And the riders of LA BTC, Ljubljana, the red of Team Arkea from France. The Côte de Nonette, 300 metres, 3.4%. So you've got Movistar that are up there to try and set this one up for Emma Norsgaard Jorgensen, who's got that for first, that's second place in the Umloop Het Nieuwsblad. So would fancy her chances in a sprint at the end of this one. On to the cobblestones now. Really power, and look at the way that the bike is just skipping around underneath these riders. And
you think you have to hold on tight, but the best way to ride over cobbles is to be really relaxed with your arms, hold in the middle of your bars, get yourself into a big gear and really power over them. It is really the most efficient way to get over the cobbled sections. And on paper this climb isn't too hard, but after the relentless amount of cobbles and climbs that the riders have to navigate through in this last 50 kilometres of the race, it really does take it out of you. And it's really important to stay near the front so you're not having to chase as well if any gaps do develop through this front group. There's only 9k to go now, so riders are really going to have to be attentive and stay near the front if they want to be in contention to win this race, because there is going to be attack after attack. It's Aude Bianique now from Movistar on the front, I believe, and the riders are now lined out coming into the last 8.8 kilometres of the race.
Trying to set this up, her teammate in the red and white champions jersey of Denmark there. SD Works in the purple, back through to the front. Liv Racing keeping themselves up there as well for Lotte Kopecky. So all of the teams here that have a sprinter still left in this group. Jorgensen just moving up, keeping herself out of trouble towards the front of this one. That Belgian champions jersey you can see of Lotte Kopecky. And the attacks again going here from Team Movistar. Neutralised. Liv Racing really now just stepping into work for Lotte Kopecky. Marlon Russa moves around the outside for LA BTC Ljubljana. And those Lotto Sudal jerseys in there. Russo just trying to get herself off the front here. Roxanne Fournier on the back here.
It'll be interesting to see, Marty, for how this last 8 kilometres is going to go, especially if you're correct in saying that Chloe Hoskin is in this front group. It's still pretty big for a group of this size to come into the finish. There's still so much that can happen, and still super strong riders. You can see there Marlon Russo as well, a lot of Movistar riders, and drops. It's really good to see drops there represented. I think that's actually Lizzie Bennett, the British rider. Correct me if I am wrong, but this is still a big group coming into the last 7.5k. Looks like Amy Peters on the front now again with Lotte Kopecky. Lotte Kopecky really doesn't want to miss any moves. She's obviously feeling strong and ready to go in this last fight to win this La Samyn.
Marlon Russo knows that she's going to win this race. She's got to try and get away on her own, but it looks at the moment like none of the moves are sticking. Majerus goes again here for SD Works. They know that they've got the fast finishing Jørgen Dura in there, so the Luxembourg champion here has been given you clearly free rein to just attack this race, try and win this one solo. And you can see her teammate just swinging off the front there, just running a little bit of interference now on the front. So this is a good move. But Movistar, they've got the Danish champion, as we said, in there. They're trying to keep this race now under control. This is where, just before we came on air, Danny, this is where it was really splitting across these real open sections.
Yeah, you're right, Marty, and the wind is obviously in the favour for splitting this group, which you would say would be a crosswind, a cross-tailwind of some sort. It's really hard to get away into a headwind. We actually saw Anna van der Breggen do a phenomenal run in Het Nieuwsblad, being able to stay away into a headwind finish. But you would say that this is a crosswind section, and it looks like there is a small gap now to these 4 riders at the front. That is a Jumbo-Visma rider, Romy Kasper. She's actually done really well in this race in the past. She's had 2 top 10 placings, a 4th and a 6th, so she'll be really keen to do one better and get the podium. But it looks like Audrey, again, who has closed that gap for the Trek team, she does not want to lose out this time. They lost out, you would say, at Het Nieuwsblad to not have their key riders there for the front move. Lizzie Dagenham was quite open in saying that she just did not feel good on Saturday, so she'll be hoping for a better result, I'm sure, come Strade Bianche at the weekend. But this is still such a huge group going into the last 6 kilometres. We've got a couple more cobbled sections, and that's where I think the key moves could go. So riders need to stay near the front to be able to react. We know that the Rubel View, that is the last cobbled section. There's 500 metres of cobbles, and that's only around 3 to 4 kilometres to the finish. So that's probably one of the last real chances the riders have got to get away on this course. But it's Amy Peters again for SD Works, just marshalling the front. She's got a really good opportunity to win this race today.
Here come Team Movistar, those blue jerseys with the red and white Danish champions jersey right there. And Lotte Kopecky just trying to get herself into the action here as well. Marjolein van Kloof from the Drops Le Col team. I caught a glimpse of her number a little bit earlier on. But now Movistar hitting out here with 5 kilometres to go. You can see the teammate of Jorgensen just running, just kind of mind-sweeping on the back of the group, on the back of her lead out there, just to try and prevent anyone from getting on the wheel. Now the purple jerseys, though, of SD Works come through towards the front. That rider, I can see number 15, watch out for her, just there, just ahead of us in that light blue of Trek Segafredo. That is Chloe Hosking. She's going to need to get herself up into the lead-out trains. The fast-finishing Aussie, Chloe Hosking, you'd never rule out Chloe Hosking in a kick like this.
No, definitely not. And she's playing smart here, Marty. She's sitting near the back, just biding her time, knowing that if it comes down to a sprint, that she's got a really, really good chance of winning this race. She didn't race much last year. She won the Grand Prix international and she in France, but she didn't have many top results, so she'll really be looking for that win. She's changed teams this year, so she's gone from Rally to the Trek Segafredo team, so she'll be looking to get a result for them today.
So big work then being done here on the front to try and lead this one out. So 4 kilometers to go, and it looks like that job is done, and now Amy Peters is going to take over on the front. Marlon Rusa still up towards the front here for LA BTC Ljubljana. The fast time trialist, the real powerhouse is Marlon Rusa. Expect her to perhaps have another another attempt off the front as they hit the cobblestones here with 3.8 kilometers to go. These riders here, just see Abby May Parkinson just on the back here in the red, white and black colours of Lotto Soudal, the British rider. So good to be in the mix at this point, but this cobblestone section here, and Rusa goes again for LA BTC Ljubljana. As you said, looking to try and pull that sort of trademark Ellen van Dijk sort of move here.
Look at that move there from Rusa, and you can see it's obviously the smoothest part of the road is the right hand side or the middle. You do normally see riders riding down the middle of the cobbled sections. It's just elevated and generally a bit smoother, but this is the last cobbled section, so this is a really good chance for Marlon Rusa to get away. You can see how strong she is. Look at the gaps that are developing between this group now. It's still a big group. Actually, I wouldn't have actually called this to have panned out like this, and with only 3.3 kilometers to go, it's still a big group. Riders are going to have to try and close that gap. You can see Jolene de Hoor there on the front of that second group from Team SD Works. She's got a rider up the front, so she's not going to try and get that back. And it really is going to be heads down to try and make it to the front, but it's still Marlon Rusa there on the front for Ale, who's really, really going for this now. It looks like a break of 4 who have got away into the final 3 kilometers.
Marlon Rusa glances back now over the shoulder, 3 kilometers to go. And Lotte Kopecky, the Belgian champion, you can see the helicopter camera here just focusing in on that black, yellow and red jersey. Right in the centre, right on her wheel though, is Chloe Hosking. Lonika Uniken is right ahead of her. Rusa sees that she had a little bit of a gap there, but she brings it back. Alison Jackson, you can see there for Liv in that purple jersey. Elbows out for Alison Jackson. Rusa decides to press on with this one. Can she split the group? She's got great power. There's Chloe Hosking, number 15. Romy Casper right behind her. Everyone just swinging out into the gutter here under the pressure of Marlon Rusa on the front. And there's the gap. It is growing. Amy Peters looking around. Lotte Kopecky doesn't want to do the work to try and bring it back. Jorgensen is in there, though, Danny, at this point. The Danish champion's jersey's got herself into the mix.
She is, and it looks like it's Trek that's missed out on this again, so I'm sure we're going to see Audrey Rago try and bring this move back, but it looked like Marlon Rusa was just sitting up there and not giving it everything she's got. It looked like Anna Henderson as well from Jumbo-Visma. This is a really, really strong move towards the end of this race. It looks like Emma just attacking on the left-hand side of the screen. Or is it Anna Henderson, the British rider Anna Henderson from Jumbo-Visma? She's having a fantastic ride, and Liv Rider's trying to get up to her now, but this is Anna's last-ditch attempt. She doesn't want to take this to a sprint. She's super strong. She's so technically good, and this is a great opportunity from the young British rider.
2.1k to go, and you can see Jackson just clawing Anna Henderson back here, the young Brit, now with the Jumbo-Visma team, but Jackson neutralises that move there for Lotte Kopecky. Always a good teammate is Alison Jackson. Here come Movistar through now with 1.9 kilometres to go. Jorgensen is in there, that Danish champion's jersey, easy to pick out from that helicopter shot. Lotte Kopecky just moving up on the wheels here of her teammate. Liv team have done a phenomenal job today to keep Lotte Kopecky in the right position, as have Movistar. So can they now deliver the Dane to the line for her first victory of the season? 1.7k to go. Is there an opportunity, Danny, for anyone to take a flyer here in this, just outside that final K?
There's always an opportunity, Marty. I think, it's never over till it's over, and I do think you're going to see riders trying to attack in this last 1.5 kilometres of the race, especially with sprinters like Jolien de Hoor and Chloe Hoskins still in this group. It's not worth it for some teams to try and leave it to a sprint with such strong sprinters in this group. So I think we might see a last-ditch attempt from riders like Marlon Russa, who we know is so strong. But I've also been really impressed with the Liv riders again today. They had a fantastic ride as well on Saturday. It's impressive to see how these teams are coming together when they're such new compositions of teammates, and in only the first 2 races of the season. But it's Movistar now who are on the front. Look at that, they've got it together. So impressive. It is a real new mix of riders. Emma's just sitting back. We know she can sprint. She's got a great sprint on her. To take second in Het Nieuwsblad, such a young rider. So it looks like she's really up for it again today, coming into the last 1 kilometre of the race.
Bryony van Velzen is a young rider that's also in there for Dolcini van Aert Proximus. You can see her just on the outside there in the red and white. Is a good sprinter. Leading this out though are Team Movistar, those purple jerseys of Liv, trying to set this up for Lotte Kopecky. The Belgian champion is there. You can see that jersey, Kopecky. Third last year, it was Chantal van den Broek-Black that took it on her own. Christine Majerus won the bunch sprint. We now get this shot. Here come Team Movistar looking to try and set this up now for Jorgensen. Chloe Hosking is right there in the mix for Trek Segafredo. On the out, here goes Liv just on the right there. Russo looking around for her teammates. Chloe Hosking is in the perfect position for Trek Segafredo, right on the wheel of the Danish champion. Amy Peters is also now poised and ready, as is Lotte Kopecky. Everyone looking to try and time this move now to perfection, not go too early. And now the sprint is starting. Anna Henderson's got up there. She picks herself now onto the wheel of Chloe Hosking, but Emma Norsgaard Jorgensen goes. Look at the power now of the Movistar rider as Chloe Hosking just tries to claw it back. Here comes Lotte Kopecky. Is it going to be the first victory of the season for Movistar? Kopecky challenging Jorgensen right on the line. Is Lotte Kopecky going to take it? Yes, she is. Lotte Kopecky takes the victory there for Liv Racing. A long, drawn-out sprint there for Emma Cecily Norsgaard Jorgensen, but Lotte Kopecky plays it cool, plays it to perfection, and takes the victory.
That was such an impressive sprint there from Lotte Kopecky. She was 4th on Saturday, and she obviously wasn't happy with that ride. She timed that to perfection. She waited and waited. Emma took it on a little bit too early. It didn't seem like Chloe quite had the legs. She had a great jump, but it was Lotte Kopecky, this rider, who timed it perfectly and managed to get round Emma just at the right moment.
What a rider she has become in the last year or so. And you've got to say that, moving over from Lotto Soudal now to the Liv Racing team and looking at how they've ridden today, as a leader, it's just about inspiring your teammates, isn't it? To want to sacrifice themselves for you. Take us through that sprint, Danny.
Yeah, so it looks like Lotte Kopecky got on her teammate Evie Kuiper's team, and Emma's taken it on a little bit early. You can see Chloe hasn't quite got the legs to close down Emma, but it was Lotte Kopecky who timed that perfectly. She came off Chloe's wheel, she got in the slipstream of Emma and came past her just at the right moment, and she won by at least a bike length. So that was a super impressive sprint and time in there from Lotte Kopecky.
Got to shout out Gladys Verhulst there in the red of Arkea. She had a good finish as well, and so good to see her getting up there as well. But the victory belongs today to Lotte Kopecky, the Belgian champion, 4th in Omloop Het Nieuwsblad, the winner today here at Le Samyn de Dam.
Neem je die even mee, want ik moet mijn haar even mee.
Just picking that one apart, but so many attacks in towards the finish. A great edition of Le Samyn de Dam. Always gives us a really exciting race, and plenty of the cobblestone sections And they said they do call this race the Little Paris-Roubaix. And if you followed the Trek Segafredo team on social media, they've been out recceing the new Paris-Roubaix, which is coming this year as well. But it's a historic race, is Le Samyn de Dam, and a real worthy winner in Lotte Kopecky. And what hopefully, as she says, she'll team up this year with Jolien Durer for the Olympic Madison, as we just see some of the groups sprinting it out. But early break that we had here. Sorry, stumbling over my words, but early break we had here early today. We had Lotte Kopecky and Jolien Durer and Amy Peters in that early break when we came on there. And you would say that's a pretty good Olympic Madison final there, with if you added Kirsten Wild into the mix.
I know, yeah. We were just going to say we needed Kirsten Wild to really bring that as a Madison quartet. But it's really impressive to see riders like Lotte Kopecky being able to be top of their game in both the track and the road. They are really becoming different sports, especially with the length of women's racing increasing. I think for Lotte Kopecky, this would have played into her favour, being a shorter race, only 92.5 kilometres. But she's proven that she's really stepped up. I think it was really good for her to stay in Lotto for a couple of years and really develop as a rider and really get her opportunity to shine. I think if young riders go into big teams too early, they can kind of get put into that domestique role and never really get that chance to show what they can do. But I think it's been a fantastic, almost career move by Kopecky to go from Lotto to Liv, and now she's getting her chance, and Liv are really stepping up to the plate, working well together, and the results are paying off.
Lotte Kopecky also ventured into the field this winter, had a go at cyclocross, and just took to it like a duck to water, as they say. She had some great rides in the winter. But let's have a look back through this. This was our early breakaway group that we were talking about when we came on air. It was Marlon Rusa, Emma Norsgaard Jorgensen, Lotte Kopecky, Amy Peters, and Jolien Durer. But that work done by Audrey Cordon-Ragot to pull this move back, and we saw that her teammate Chloe Hosking was in that group behind. But the teamwork today was something else.
It really was.
As well. Look, watching this one, Danny. Sorry, just two breakaway moves and still had the power at the end for the kick.
Yeah, it just shows how strong Lotte Kopecky is to be able to make it into those moves time and time again, and then have the power to sprint, come the finish, and take the victory. She's obviously been working on that, and as a coach, I normally do set my riders to do efforts when they're tired, and I think that's really key. It's not just about being able to do fantastic efforts fresh, but also when you're tired. And it looks like Lotte Kopecky really has that strength and the ability to do that, repeated efforts even after 90 kilometres of racing. And you can see here Emma just took it on a bit early, maybe a bit of inexperience there. Chloe Hosking didn't quite have the legs to get round her. She was in a perfect position, but it was Lotte Kopecky, timed it to perfection. She's got the legs to get her arms in the air again in this La Samyn.
You can see the drops Le Col rider there, Marjolaine Van Geloof, getting herself in. Chloe Hosking, slight cross headwind, looking at the wind direction of the finish. It was, you could see everyone was very, very patient on that run into the line, weren't they? They were just waiting, and perhaps looking at the wind direction of the finish. Emma Norsgaard Jorgensen just went a touch too early. There's your top 10 though. Lotte Kopecky takes it from Emma Jorgensen, Chloe Hosking, Gladys Verhulst, Marjolaine Van Geloof, Amy Peters, Laura Tomasi, Anna Henderson, great result for her, and you've got Van der Holster and Romy Kasper is your top 10. Good result there as well. Anna Henderson getting herself up there into the top 10 as well.
Yeah, nice top 10 result there from the British rider, and always good to start the season with a good result. It really shows your team that you've got the legs and you've got the ability, and potentially give you more opportunities for the season ahead. It's just really good for confidence for not just yourself that your winter training's gone well, but also for your team to give you those opportunities in the up and coming races.
Amber van der Hulst, the Park Hotel Valkenburg rider that also got herself into the top 10 in that sprint. Don't forget the Samyn, the men's race will be coming up after this one, and if you are enjoying watching the women's pro peloton kick off their season, and then Danny and myself will be back on Saturday with Strade Bianche. And if you've never seen that one before, it is a treat. It is something else, that race. You're not going to want to miss that one. Movistar Sprinter there. Really, the first two results though for Emma Norsgaard Jorgensen, it shows what she's got to come this season. That Movistar are going to take huge confidence from her first two rides.
Absolutely, and they've obviously got the absolute legend that is Annemiek van Vleuten in their roster as well, so they really have got two cards to play now, with Emma showing how strong she is come the sprint, and obviously Annemiek van Vleuten, who can seemingly ride off the front like she did last year in Strade Bianche all the way to the finish. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of legs she's got this year, especially coming into the Olympic Games. But that was a fantastic race, Marty. I really enjoyed that, and it actually panned out very differently to what I thought it would.
Some great shots. You can see a great day here for Les Samyn. Great conditions as well. 14 to 16 degrees Celsius and beautifully sunny today for the riders. It was only a couple of weeks ago we had snow for cyclocross, so it's great to see the sun out. Les Samyn did down the 10th edition of this race. There is your top 10. Lotte Kopecky takes it from Emma Norsgaard Jorgensen, Chloe Hosking, Gladys Verhulst, Marjolein van Geloof, Amy Peters, Laura Tomassi, Anna Henson, Amber van der Hulst and Romy Kasper, your top 10. So a great result for the young Brit there, Anna Henson, to get herself up into the mix. Emma Norsgaard Jorgensen, though, launching the sprint there. Chloe Hosking trying to get it back. But Danny, the sprint here from Lotte Kopecky, she timed it. Looking at her sprint from last year, she just got it right. Slightly uphill this one as well.
Yeah, not only did she time it right, but I think she's just got absolutely phenomenal legs, because actually it looked like Chloe Hoskin had the perfect position there to run off Emma Norsgaard's wheel, who did go a fraction too early, especially in an uphill sprint. But it was Lotte Kopecky who decided that enough was enough. She'd had enough on Chloe's wheel, and she wanted to try and get around both riders, which she did in convincing form there. So again, she was in every move of the day, so she's really proven that she's stepped up again. She had a fantastic year last year with some great results in the Classics, second in Ghent-Wevelgem, and now she's taken the victory today in Les Samyn. So I'm excited to see what else she's got now for the rest of the season.
Yeah, and for looking at the different teams, say Anna Henderson getting a top 10 today, the British rider for Jumbo Visma. Marianne Vos not in the mix yet in terms of the team. So great to see young riders like Anna stepping up. Great result as well for Marjolein van Geloof there for Drops Lecole, getting up there in fifth. The Dutch rider on the British team. Chloe Hosking, she'll take a welcome boost from a podium today. The Trek Segafredo rider from Australia, new signing for them, as Danny said earlier on, moving across from rally cycling. And I think for me as well, good to see Romy Kasper, the German rider, getting up there and looking a little bit more like her old self as well.
Yeah, she likes this race. I mentioned earlier she's had a 4th and a 6th position in this race. She obviously builds confidence from that. They say success breeds success, and I know for myself, if I'd had a good race in a particular race the year before, I always tended to ride better. I think it just comes from that confidence and the mental capacity, which we know is so important. The psychological performance of someone can really change their physical performance. Chloe having trouble there, I think, with her hat to get onto the podium. She can't quite manage to change the sizing of it by the looks of it, but nice to see the camaraderie between this podium. I think we're going to see a lot more of these 3 riders for the rest of this year.
Got to get your baseball cap right, damn you! It's normally a Swanee does it for you, don't they? Get your hat into the right size.
Something like that, yeah.
Chloe Hosking a familiar rider on the podium, a new signing for Trek Segafredo, and Audrey Cordon-Rago did a great job in controlling everything for that team today. And it's a third spot for Trek Segafredo and the Aussie. You can see her sprinting so well. So Emma Jorgensen onto the podium. She does have that double-barrel Danish name, so we does pop up a lot of the time as Norsgaard Jorgensen as well, doesn't it? That's why we kind of say sometimes both names. So she's on Twitter at Emma Norsgaard, so the announcer is Emma Jorgensen. So we'll give her both on today. The Movistar rider onto the podium, second spot. And a welcome winner, you will say, the Belgian national champion, the now trademark elbow pumps, Lotte Kopecky, kicks off 2021 for Liv Racing with her first victory of the season and her 8th win as a pro. And I think the likes of, I definitely was impressed with the likes of Alison Jackson today. Did a lot of work in that race. Always a great teammate is Alison Jackson from Canada, and they set them up. They really have gelled already, Liv Racing.
Yeah, they have, and it will just build their confidence coming into the season, you know, and there's new teams and new compositions of riders. It normally takes a few races to be able to gel, but they've been really impressive. I've been really impressed watching them in Het Nieuwsblad, and again today. Success breeds success, and that confidence will just keep growing now.
It will indeed. So good day on the podium here. We'll see. Lotte has got Strade Bianche on the podium on her program, so we will see her at the weekend in that one. Well, it'll be interesting to see how she goes in that. Norsgaard Jorgensen, can't see what she's got on the podium on the program just yet to come. But Lotte Kopecky grabs the spoils of victory today here at Les Samyn de Dam. So the riders are off the podium. So the men's race